So this week, guys, we are starting with getting the engine separated from the old cross member. Oh, I think someone's looking to see if Mom's home yet. So that's what I've got done so far. You guys are just now joining me at this point because I knew getting that off of there was going to be a nightmare, and you guys would have watched me in quadruple speed for 10 minutes doing 2 hours worth of work. So I just skipped over showing you guys that. The other things I've done so far this weekend is I completely buffed and polished and waxed the 8.6. So she is looking very, very good for the first time in a while, because that's honestly probably the first time I've really waxed the car to that extent in at least a year. So, but yeah, it's looking good. So I think, what? Oh, am I in the alley? I'm sorry. She knows she's not supposed to be in the alley, so she's yelling at me for walking in the alley. Let's see. So I think the next thing is going to be is I'm going to get this mess cleaned up. Then after this mess is cleaned up, I'm going to start working on separating the automatic transmission from the poor tilty V6. Yeah, that's a terrible contraption, but that was the only way I could get it off. So, yeah. I will bring you guys back when there's something more to see. That is the first time in 2 years, maybe a little bit longer, that engine has not been setting in that corner. And you would have thought with as many times that I've caught my leg on this spot here and this spot here, trying to walk around cars and stuff, that I would have done that a lot sooner. But motivation has not been there, guys. It's been terrible. But now that that's done, I think the next thing is going to be is to move this over in front of the Corolla. And then I will start looking at, probably off camera, I will start looking at what I'm going to do to get the transmission off. And then I will either bring you guys back once I know exactly what I'm doing, or when I'm pulling the transmission off, one or the other. We'll see. So I'm getting a late start on. I did a skip week. I didn't put out a video last weekend. There might be 2 this weekend. We'll see. I think the basic goal for this weekend is going to be get the engine prepped to be able to put the transmission on it, and get everything else here back out of the engine bay, so I can then in turn paint the engine bay. And then after the engine bay is painted, I am going to start throwing the transmission and engine together with the clutch and everything, because I'm only going to put it together one time. And start getting all of it ready to go back into the car from the bottom. So at least that's the hope, that's the goal. That is not all probably going to happen in this video. That's going to be 2 videos. I think this video is going to be just getting everything around and ready. I might start putting the transmission and the engine together this video. We're going to cross that bridge when we come to it. I think the end of this video, though, is going to be hopefully a yellow engine bay. And then I will start another video from there, actually assembling the engine and transmission probably. That's what sounds good in my head. Whether that's how it happens or not, I don't know. I've got a couple other things I need to do before the engine goes in the car. There needs to be a custom CV shaft mount built on the back side of the motor. So I think I'm going to try to do that by cutting up some of the square tubing and see how it goes. I'm not 100% sure. I may just go buy some flat stock and go down that path from there. We'll see. We'll see which one happens. And that's mainly because that thing right there, that tube that's down here, that stuff is thick. So it's going to be a pain to cut and a pain to weld and everything else, especially with my list of tools I have. So although I might try to tack it together with mine, and then I have a fabrication shop that does a lot of welding and stuff across the road. I may wander my way over there and see if maybe if I offer one of those guys a 20 or a 50 something, see if they'll weld it together for me to where I don't have to try welding it together with my shitty stuff. We'll cross that bridge though. There's gonna be a lot of bridges to cross with this. So, but essentially I've got the next 2 weeks kind of off of work, and my goal within that 2-week period is not to necessarily get this running and driving, but get that in there and maybe some form of a suspension back on the front of the car to where then I can think about making it a running and driving car again. Because once I'm at that point, other than some parts, the rest of it should get easy. So we'll see how it goes though. All right, I've rambled enough. Time to move on to something else. Actually went a lot smoother than I thought it was going to. Sometimes this thing doesn't like moving around when you've got that much weight hanging off of it, considering The hole that should be lined up with this is right about here. This is another hole I drilled to give me a little bit more extension. On stuff like this, it's not so bad. It puts a lot of weight right over the front, and it doesn't like it too well. So, all right. Now I think the next thing is going to to get everything else picked up and get the convertible back inside. I don't know how much more I'm going to get done today. Wife should be home from work here before long. Maybe if I can get her help when she gets home, I will work on getting the transmission and stuff out, because I can do it by myself, but I've learned is a lot easier with a second pair of hands. Well, since you guys have watched me do it 3 or 4 times now, I think almost watched me do it in probably almost every video. I went ahead and instead of dropping the transmission in this thing tonight, or working on getting the transmission off of this, I took a minute and just kind of did a little bit of a reset of the workspace, because it was a disaster and it was getting to the point where I was not enjoying working in it. So, I mean, this over here is still a mess, but whatever. And there's stuff sitting all over the Rambler, but whatever. And there's still stuff sitting on top of the car, but ignore that. That don't count. So, I think now tomorrow morning's plan is to start getting that pulled apart, because I want to get that transmission and all of this stuff loaded up and taken to the scrapyard, so it is out of my way finally after 2 years of staring at it, if not longer. And actually, I think it's been longer than that, because this was actually a spare motor for my old V6 Celica, which I haven't owned since I've started this project. So yeah, it's probably been closer to 3 or 4 years that motor's been sitting there. Holy crap. I hope this thing's okay when I drop it in the car. That's a whole nother issue we'll deal with, though. So, yeah. So I think tomorrow's plan is going to be to get that apart, hopefully get all that out of here, and then get this dropped and start getting this figured out. So, as you guys can see by the gigantic mess over here, you guys missed me taking the transmission off. And that's because nothing about the entire process of getting the transmission off, even though I started trying to record it and then realized very quickly this was going to involve way too much cussing, way too much screaming, and tools being thrown for me to put on YouTube. So it went bye-bye. The transmission is off, the torque converter is off. This thing is off. That caused 90% of my nightmare. There was one bolt I couldn't get to. It's frozen in place inside that mount, would not come out. That turd's sitting over there now. Now all I gotta do is get the flex plate off. And then I'm ready to start installing the clutch and everything. I still have to get this out of here, put everything back under my shelf, because I thought it was going to be a good idea to put it up here on the table to where it was easier to work on. I was wrong. Terrible idea. Shouldn't have did that. Although I do got to make a bracket to mount the CV shaft from this transmission to the back side of that motor. So it'll probably end up back up there on the shelf again, so I can do that. But that's kind of a necessary evil, so I can get it done, because if not, I've got to try doing it basically laying on the ground, and I don't want to do that. I did that on the last car. So, alright. Bring you guys back when there's something to see. Alright. Here's a hot one. So the transmission, after a bit of a spill and all the other associated stuff that was laying out here, is now, along with a few other things, in the bed of the truck. So tomorrow morning is going to be make a run to the junkyard and get rid of everything. So I need to go through and do some of these wheels and tires too. This is turning into a disaster over here, but it is what it is. It's on my list to work on cleaning up. So been part of these videos has been me just getting motivated. Yep, and it's all hot again. That's been the big part of these videos, is me just getting motivated to get stuff done. Seems like if I film it, I get motivated and it gets done. Oh. A this is not gonna like it, but the AC needs recharged in this thing. It is not working at all. You shut it off, it works for a couple seconds, and it starts getting immediately hot again. Yep. So I guess I'm going to add recharging the AC to this thing to the list. Fun. So, since I have been busting my butt out in the garage, I've not been down here a lot lately. So I think I'm going to work on a little project down here before I go back outside again. Just because it's cool in the house and it's not so cool outside. So as you can see, I've got this rubber mulch I've got laid out around here. This works really well. Because this area we have traction issues because, well, not all the tires I have are great, and frankly it's really loose, so everything just digs in and kind of sinks. We have the same problem back along here, like this entire section. You kind of see where I've been drawing lines out where I've been thinking about putting all of this. I've got 3 bags, which is way more than I need. Well, 2.5 bags at this point, which is way more than I need. I think I'm going to take the half bag and put around back here and just start with a small section of it and see how I like it and go from there. But since you guys haven't seen a lot of the RC stuff on this channel yet, I figure I will take a quick break from the cars and show you guys some of this. From back here, but I got a big area covered. I really only used that half bag and like 3 or 4 handfuls out there. That was it. So, but that is kind of the section I wanted to start with. I may bring that out farther and actually connect that down to here, but I don't know yet. I don't want to go too crazy with it. I want to see how this wears in as well too with driving the trucks on it. So, and I think the next spot I want to do the same thing is I want to put some on that hill, because you cannot climb back up there if you fall off. And I'd like to change that a little bit. So, yeah. All right, let's grab a truck and see how it works. The next question is, which truck do we grab to test it out? Well, if you're thinking any of these, you're wrong, because we're going to run the Bronco. Okay, I think this morning we're going to start with getting the pool cleaned up. Then I think we're going to go ahead and go into the garage, get the transmission and subframe dropped out from underneath of the Corolla. And after that, we'll grab the truck and run all the scrap down. I think that's going to be about it for this video, though. Just because, well, the body is getting tired. So, and I've been working on filming this now, I think, for about 3 days, maybe a little bit longer. And, yeah, I just need a break. That pool's looking good, though. Outside's kind of dirty again still, but I got the inside scrubbed down pretty well. So, kids are going to like that here in a little bit. All right, into the garage we go. I am not gonna lie, that went a lot smoother than I thought it was going to. So I'll take that as a win. Got a few things I need to modify yet. I don't think that back mount's sitting on there exactly flush. I think I need to shave down a little spot on the side of the transmission. And probably gonna drill out the holes for that lower mount in the front, just so I can kind of nudge it over that way a little bit. Then I need to get the whole clutch assembly put on that transmission, so I can then get this transmission put on there. She's a hot one today, guys. Yeah, so I need to get that done, so I can then get all that set up onto the workbench and start figuring out the axle mount that holds the carrier bearing for this transmission to the back of that motor. So I've got a couple different ideas I'm going to try that I didn't do last time. We'll see how it goes. That'll be a different video, though. That might end up being an entire video by itself. Yeah, alright. Let's get around and go get everything to the scrapyard. Okay, now to get our butts down to the scrapyard since they just opened. Luckily, it ain't that far away, so I figured I'll take you guys along for the ride. We haven't really done that in this video, I don't think. maybe it was just that hot yesterday. There's a good possibility because it was really hot yesterday. Like, it was pushing 100 and something yesterday. I think my app showed it was like 97, but real feel was like 105 or something like that. It was not good. So I wonder if maybe it was that hot yesterday, the AC just couldn't do it. So he's like, right now I feel like I'm getting froze out. Which shocked me and the wife both, because like this thing normally got fairly decent AC. Yesterday though, like she checked it twice too while I was doing it, because I kept telling her, like, I think the AC needs recharged. And she's like, I don't get it. It was fine yesterday. Why is it so bad today? She's like, it was ice cold yesterday. Oh, this is fun. Shut you guys off because I don't have permission from them to film. I will bring you back when we're done. Okay. So, got all that scrapped. Got a whole $38. Woohoo! Got lunch money for the day. But I think that is the last thing we were doing in this video, guys. I know it's kind of been an all over the place video. It doesn't really probably seem like a lot got accomplished, but it's a lot of stuff that I have procrastinated on for a very, very long time. Like I said, that engine alone, I should probably put my seatbelt on so the thing shuts up. Always wear your seatbelts, kids. That engine and transmission have been sitting in that corner 2-3 years at least, if not longer. And yeah, it needed done. I've been very, very unmotivated. So, I'm trying to find the words. But now that it's done, I can move on to other things. Because the brakes and just dismounting that transmission were the two things that were killing me on this car, where I just did not want to touch it. Because I did not want to deal with running the brake lines and all that stuff. I didn't want to deal with taking that transmission off, because I knew how big of a bear getting that auto trans off was going to be, because it was last time too. And I've done that job, I think, 3 or 4 times now, and it never gets easier. So, because there's always something that doesn't want to come apart, always something that wants to fight, and it's just, it's a pain. But now that it's done, I can move on to bigger and better things. Although I do need to pull the master cylinder and stuff back out of the car, so I can repaint the engine bay. So, and I want to go ahead and loop the power steering lines, so I can just kind of use the rack like a manual rack instead, because, well, even though power steering would be nice to have, I don't believe I currently have a power steering pump that's any good. And, well, the car's going to have 15s on it, so I'm not overly worried about it steering too heavy, being a Corolla. So, I could be wrong. I might regret it. I'm going to keep the hard line. I'm going to keep the power steering lines just in case. I might look around and realize I also have a power steering pump too. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Yeah, but as you can see, we are home. I need to check the pool, and then probably gonna grab the kids and go get some breakfast, since we've got breakfast or lunch money. and it appears the pool is full. So I will catch you guys another time. Remember, it's not about the destination. It's about the adventure. Get out, have some fun, enjoy doing what you do, work on your projects. Everyone have a good day. See you next time.